Hello, Magic the Gathering players. This morning, Zendikar Rising spoilers have officially started. So, I have been on a whirlwind of emotions today. Like an absolute whirlwind. Because I wake up to a message from my friends. We're all like, oh, dude, just something about Fetchlands, right? And so the first message I get is, it's official. Wizards blows. The Fetchland reprint is Expeditions, and I'm immediately pissed, right? Because like, what kind of a reprint is that, right? Like that's not a real reprint, Wizards. That doesn't make the game more affordable for the average player who's trying to get into Modern or Legacy. I mean, like Modern, realistically, but yeah. So then I watched the video about the, oh gosh, just bumped my desk. I watched the video and I get to the end and I see that the enemy fetches are being reprinted in Modern Horizons 2, which is a good thing. But then I'm like, oh god, Modern Horizons 2, Hogak and Urza again? Oh boy. But nonetheless, I guess we get to look at some cool spoilers from Zendikar. So let's go ahead and start looking at some of these Zendikar. I typically am a modern player, right? So I look at a lot of these cards from a modern perspective and not so much of a standard perspective. Like, I'm sure like Legion Angel seems pretty okay and cool in standard, right? It's a flying 4/3 for 4 that draws you a card when it enters, basically another copy of itself. That's pretty cool. Commons, these land cycles pretty cool for standard, I'm sure, but this is, I don't think this is modern playable, right? Because a 3-mana opposite of Inquisition that also is a land. I don't think that's it. That's not it, Chief. Let's look for some more uncommons, at least. Whenever a cleric enters the battlefield under your control, you gain 1 life. If you gain life for the first turn, put 1 counter on it. Nah. 1/1 death touch for 1. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery or wizard spell, you may draw a card. If you do discard, so just a looting wizard. Alright, so here's first rare. When Confounding Conundrum enters the battlefield, draw a card. Okay. When a land enters the battlefield under an opponent's control, if that player had another land enter the battlefield under their control this turn, they return a land they control to its owner's hand. So basically, if they're playing multiple lands a turn, they have to pick up another land. So this is like a counter to like Azusa. And this is basically a Titan counter card. If you're considering modern, blue was a Titan counter card, but I don't think that's very good. All right, we got our first mythic rare here. Drana, the Last Blood Chief. Flying, whenever Drana, the Last Blood Chief attacks, defending player chooses a non-legendary creature card in your graveyard. You return that card to the battlefield with a 1/1 counter on it. The creature is a vampire in addition to its other types. 5 mana 4/4 flying doesn't do anything when it enters, so like this isn't like a modern playable card, really. Yeah, it's just not really a modern playable card. Cool for standard. Sure, it could be fine in standard, but it's not modern playable. Now the lands, right? These lands are really cool. I like these lands a lot. Why aren't they typed? Why is this not a mountain? Why is this not a forest? Like there's no reason for them to not be, other than they didn't want them to be used in modern, right? Because having them typed has no effect on standard, no effect whatsoever. It's really just a waste, because these would have been really cool cards for modern. They would have changed mana bases. They would have been like made some of them less painful, like, but you're sacrificing a color of mana, like it would have been really cool. And I'm really upset that they decided to not type these. Very unfortunate. So Coveted Prize is, this spell costs 1 less to cast for each creature in your party. And if you don't know what the party mechanic is yet, it's sort of like a Dungeons and Dragons thing where like you need your cleric, like for each, like if you have a cleric, a warrior, a rogue, and a wizard, right? Those 4. Yeah, if you have those 4 out, like that is a full party. Like, and each member you have is one member of the party. So if you have a cleric and a rogue, you're two. So the spell costs 1 less to cast for each creature in your party. Search your library for a card, put it into your hand, and then shuffle your library. If you have a full party, you may cast a spell with CMC 4 or less from your hand without paying its mana cost. So you resolve the card in the order you cast it. So if you have a full party and you grab a card that costs 4 or less, you can play that card also. All right, let's go ahead and the next rare here. Tejuru Paragon. Tejuru Paragon is also a cleric, rogue, warrior, and wizard. So he is basically or she, I think, I'm not sure. They are a filler for your party mechanics, pretty much. It's kicker of 3. When it enters the battlefield, if it was kicked, reveal the top 6 cards of your library and would put a card that shares a creature type with it among them into your hand, the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. So pretty cool. For standard. Don't think this has any implications onto modern whatsoever. Unless some of the party mechanics are pushed, but I don't know. I don't think that'll really be a mechanic that can really survive in modern. There's too much removal, and you like getting 4 creatures out. I don't think that's really a viable thing. Excuse me. So another land, red white one. Lands are cool, but wizards not really doing it for me here. So landfall cards have cool arts. Or they have a version that has a cool art. So here's Nissa. Planeswalker Nissa. Whenever a land enters battlefield under your control, put a loyalty counter on Nissa. Untap target land. +1. Untap target land you control. You may have it become a 3/3 creature with haste and menace until end of turn. It is still a land. -5. You may put a creature card with CMC cost less than or equal to the number of lands you control onto the battlefield from your hand or graveyard with 2 1/1 counters on it. So pretty cool. If you wait until turn 5 to cast it, and let's say you had a fetch land, you could play your fetch land, fetch your fetch land, and then that would put Nissa up to 6 loyalty. Pretty cool. And then you could immediately alter and put something out, but this would be a turn 5 at the earliest play. Potentially could be like, I think this could be cool in like the rock decks against like control. So this might have a very, very slim chance of being modern playable in just the green black decks, the rock decks. So not terrible. You can grab back your Tarmogoyfs or whatever early tireless trackers. Yeah, lots of stuff. So Zareth San the Trickster. 3, a blue and a black. Flash is the ability. Use a 4/4. Sneeze. 2, blue black. Return an unblocked attacking rogue you control to its owner's hand. Put Zareth San the Trickster from your hand onto the battlefield, tapped and attacking. So he basically has ninjutsu, but for only rogues, right? When Zareth San deals combat damage to a player, you may put target permanent card from that player's graveyard onto the battlefield under your control. That's pretty cool. That's a cool ability. Is it good enough for modern? Ninjutsu isn't really good enough for modern, but cool, I guess. I don't think it's good enough personally, but I'd be welcome to be proved wrong there. Player. That player mills a card. I could draw a card. It's not terrible, but fine uncommon. More lands that aren't typed. Frick you, wizards, buddy old pal. Aura Skyclave Hierophant. I don't know how to pronounce that. Is a 2 white black lifelink. When Aura Skyclave Hierophant or another cleric you control dies, return target cleric card with lesser CMC from the graveyard to the battlefield. So sort of a like cleric tribal kind of thing, looks like. Yeah, pretty cool. Don't think it has any place in modern. 4 mana 3/3 lifelinks don't have any place there. So Or lands aren't typed. Linvala, Shield of Seagate. Flying. At the beginning of combat on your turn, if you have a full party, choose target non-land permanent an opponent controls until your next turn. It can't attack or block, and its activated abilities can't be activated. Sacrifice Linvala, choose Hexproof or Indestructible. Creatures you control gain that ability until next turn. So basically, I think this bit of text is close to irrelevant, right? Like, what are the odds that you have 3 other creatures on the battlefield all surviving, like, consistently to get this to happen? I don't think that party is going to be a mechanic that exists in Modern. But, that being said, choose Hexproof or Indestructible creatures you control gain that ability until end of turn. This could be pretty cool in, like, the Spirits decks. Like, even though this isn't a Spirit, they have played, like, Deputy of Detention in the past, and that this card doesn't do the same thing, right? But it does. It's sort of like a Giver of Runes that, like, where, like, they have to deal with this before they can deal with your other things. And the fact that it gives you the choice to choose between Hexproof or Indestructible, so, like, you can protect either a single thing, or you can, like, give all your creatures Indestructible so they don't die from Wrath. So I think this actually has a playable spot in sideboards of Spirits, at least. Maybe even Humans, but I don't think Humans. I think Humans' mana base relies too much on all the caverns and unclaimed territories in Ancient Ziggurats to play this, but maybe I'm wrong. They can't. It's not also like they can't name this with one of them, but Spoils of Adventure, spell costs 1 less to cast. For each creature in your party, gain 3 life, draw 3 cards. Instant. Okay. Pretty cool. Does it do it for me? I don't think so. Not in Modern. But, say you have 2 creatures out. But if you're a creature deck, are you really holding 6 mana? Or even 4 mana? I don't think it really does it for me. Tazri, Beacon of Unity. 4 and a white, legendary creature, human warrior. Spell costs 1 less to cast for each creature in your party is a 4/6. So party mechanics reducing costs, pretty cool. I like the reduced cost more on creatures because, like, if you're a creature deck, I feel like that's more where you want to be. So it has the ability to pay the other 4 colors that aren't its cast for, or you can pay 2 for each one. So if you have the 4 colors, cool. But its ability is look at the top 6 cards of your library. You may reveal up to 2 cleric, rogue, warrior, wizard, and or ally cards among them and put them into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. Neat-ish, but definitely not good enough for Modern. I can tell you that much. Fine for Standard, not for Modern. So your opponent, you just cast this guy on turn 2, your opponent discards their worst card. But he could be like Humans. Humans definitely has wizards. I don't know if Humans has any warrior. Official. That's just worse than Kite Sail Freebooter, isn't it? Just do they want a second Kite Sail Freebooter? Soldier, pirate, wizard. Soldiers, lots of soldiers. Bunch of wizards. Oriok Champion's a cleric. Yeah. So they've got a couple clerics sideboard, but so I don't think that, like, why would they want that over Kite Sail Freebooter anyway, right? Kite Sail Freebooter to take any card from their hand, but well, it's actually just a duress, isn't it? I don't know. I don't think that card doesn't make it. 4-color Omnath. When he enters the battlefield, draw a card. Cool, that's a good thing, but When a land enters the battlefield under your control, you gain 4 life. If this is the first time this ability has resolved this turn, it's the second time, add 4 mana. A combination of red, green, white, blue. If it's the third time, Omnath deals 4 damage to each opponent and walker you don't control. Pretty cool. Maybe in the 5-color, like, if the 5-color effects could be cool. They play some Fetchlands. They play a lot of 5-color land. Lotus Cobra, already legal in Modern, not good enough for Modern. Blood Chief's Thirst, cost 1, destroy target creature planeswalker with CMC 2 or less. Are there any 2-mana planeswalkers in this format right now? I think so. But for a kicker of 2 and a black, it's a sorcery though. If this spell was kicked instead of destroy target creature, it's a sorcery. I would have liked this card. It was not a sorcery. If this was an instant, this could have been a pretty good card actually. Unfortunate. Interesting. You may put a base clan card from your hand on the battlefield. Return target base clan you control with its owner's hand. Pretty cool. Okay, so we have a rare flip land thing. So it's enters the battlefield tapped. Red, just mountain, really. And then the other side of it is 2 in a red, put any number of cards from your hand on the bottom of your library, then draw that many cards plus 1. Okay. Pretty cool. This might be able to be played in Modern in the blue-red, like Blue Moon decks. Yeah, I like this kind of a lot in a Blue Moon deck, really. Like, even, like, just... even, like, 2 copies doesn't seem bad. Like, sure, this, like... It's just a mountain, like, really. It's just a tapped mountain. Like, if you need it early game, but, like, there are worse places to be. But... this side of it, like, honestly, the other side doesn't even matter. Like, put any number of cards from your hand on the bottom of your library, then draw that many cards plus 1. That's pretty good. Like, if you're just hunting for your other piece, it's an instant too, so you can end step it. Oh yeah, I like this card. So yeah, if you're just looking for the Emrakul or the Through the Breach, I like this card. I like this card a lot. It does have, like, some slight value in being... and the fact that it only costs 3 mana. Like, let's say you have 4 cards in hand, discard 3, draw 4 for 3 mana, instant speed. You're not even discard, put them on the bottom. Yeah, I like it. Floor lands. I like floor lands, they're cool. New arts. Time Spiral Remaster, and the frickin' Expeditions. Fetchlands reprint before 2021. Expeditions, what a joke. What a joke. So they knew that people would be so mad about this that they had to release that Modern Horizons 2 was going to have Fetchlands in them. You know, I'm not against these existing, right? But the fact that you can only get them in their premium packs, bullshit. It's literally the only reason to do that is because of money. Like, and I'm not against, like, Wizards making money, but, like, put them. Why don't you put them, like, as lottery cards still? Like, what's wrong with that? What's wrong with somebody opening an expedition out of a normal pack? Like, that's such a cool thing. And, like, just sell it, like, even make them even rarer than they were before. I don't care. Put them in the normal packs at least. It's give me one downside for them not being in normal packs. I opened when I first started playing Magic. Again, right? Because I used to play a lot when I was really young. Like, my stepfather taught me to play countertop, just random decks he had. Like, I played some weird, like, 3-color dragons deck, and I had a fun time, right? And I just learned how to play Magic then. I didn't understand, like, the stack or anything until, like, 2014-ish is when I started playing. like a bit more competitively. And I opened, no, it probably wasn't 24. Whenever the inventions were out, whenever the inventions were new, the Kaladesh inventions. And I first, me and my friend, we bought a deck builder's toolkit. He went half on it with me because he was trying to get me to start playing. And he was like, "I'll pay for half of it, and you can have all the cards in it." Unfortunately for him, there was a invention mana crypt, so got that, sold it, used it to pay for basically my whole first standard deck. So that was like the coolest feeling. There's like, why don't we want to give, like, if that, like, maybe if that wouldn't have happened, maybe I wouldn't have continued to play Magic, because I would have been like, oh, it's too expensive to build a deck. But Wizards of the Coast. Greed. Greed. It's the only reason to not put them in there. They want people to buy their premium products.